So if people say the solution is changing gun laws, what would reform look like? Some folks point to expanding red flag laws, but critics say that could violate basic due process. Brian Claypool, a criminal defense attorney and a survivor of the Las Vegas shooting, joins us. Brian, it's my first time speaking to you. I'd like people to kind of know your experience from 2017 briefly, because that obviously informs what you're about to talk about. What was your experience like in 2017 at the Las Vegas shooting that killed 61 people?
Yeah, hey, Brian, thanks so much for having me. So I was at the Vegas concert, and I literally dodged bullets from an assault weapon. I heard the bullets pinging around the bleachers I was at. I saw people shot and down. Some of those died, and I literally thought I was going to die. And after I survived the first round, during the second round of shots, I said to myself, if I survive, I need to do something to raise awareness about gun violence and some solutions, and that's why we're here today.
From your perspective, when you see what's happened in Uvalde, what do you think? What's your takeaway from that, given your experience?
Yeah, so after I survived the shooting, I thought possibly an assault weapon ban might work. And by the way, I've been Republican most of my life, but that's never going to happen in our country, and that's what I'm realizing after all these shootings. But I think here are some of the things that can work. This background check, it's H.R. 8. It's already been passed by the House. Let's at least get a vote in the Senate on H.R. 8 that expands background checks. You've talked a little bit about the red flag laws. For your viewers, that means if somebody reports an individual who might be unfit, who has a weapon, you can go into court, what's called ex parte, without notice, and get an order to seize those guns without a search warrant. Now, you mentioned some privacy rights. In my opinion, if we're going to tackle this wave of mass violence, we as a country have to give up some of our civil liberties and some of these privacy rights. This is no longer about red versus blue. We've had Republican presidents, we've had Democratic presidents, and we've got to get somebody working to give up some of these liberties that we have so we can have red flag laws. A couple other quick points.
What about Brian? Let me just pull in here with the red flag laws. That's in 19 states and D.C. It did not stop the Buffalo shooter. We know that the Buffalo shooter, there's a red flag law here in New York. It did not stop him when he went on his racist massacre and killed 10 people. But Texas Republican Representative Dan Crenshaw, he said that he is not in support of expanding red flag laws. Let's listen to what he had to say.
You bet.
Enforce the law before the law has been broken. Now, that's a really difficult thing to do. It's difficult to assess whether somebody is a threat. And so it's really unclear, one, how they're properly enforced, how due process is adhered to, and then ultimately how they even solve the problem. Because these things have to be reported for them to actually matter.
He's making the point that with the red flag law, you take away someone's weapon temporarily without even a crime having been committed, and that could be dicey.
Well, would you rather have dicey, or would you rather have saved lives? This is about us, we, our kids. It's no longer about, oh, well, gee, we might be violating somebody's rights. That's pathetic. Seriously. The whole point I want to make is, here's what we need too, Brian. We need to enact some kind of mandated reporter laws. What I mean by that is, you show me a mass killing and I will show you red flags every time, right? So if people on the inside, for example, the shooter in Texas, he had posted on the internet, he's 2 AR-15s. He posted ammunition. He's doing DMs on Instagram with this girl saying something bad's going to happen, right? Let's have a law that internet companies, social media platforms, people on the inside, they suspect somebody's going to do something bad, report it. If you don't report it, you face consequences, fines, possible criminal prosecution. And one other thing before I leave. Did you know, Brian, that the manufacturer of that AR-15 used in that massacre in Uvalde had posted an advertisement with a 9-year-old kid with an AR-15 holding that, promoting the AR-15s? Why is that important? Because maybe we need new laws that allow victims of gun violence to sue the manufacturers if these AR-15s are used for a purpose not intended. Maybe that'll then prevent so many of these AR-15s getting in the hands of unfit people.
Brian, this is a horrific situation. It seems to happen all the time. And I know your perspective, having survived a mass shooting, is deeply personal, but also important that we hear your perspective. And I appreciate you being here today. You had mentioned the privacy law situation. We talked, Wall Street Journal had a piece out today talking about how maybe we need more data points. Let's allow Google and other companies to give more information to law enforcement with due process to see if we can catch these people before it's too late. Brian, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Brian Claypool, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Had some good points there, Brian. Thank you.